Hello, my name is Christine Bell Larson. I was born in Torrance, California, and I call the South Bay my home. I grew up in a one-story home in Carson, California with my dad, mom, and younger sister, and I am a product of a biracial couple. I identify myself as a young multiracial woman, half Filipino, German, and Colombian. I am proud to be diverse. I grew up attending Catholic Mass, but I did not fully attend Catholicism as a part of my life until I completed my confirmation in high school. Now my religion helps me define my values and guides me, giving me faith to overcome difficult obstacles. I enjoy traveling, appreciating music, cooking and baking, going to the beach, being active, reading, and of course, sharing my passion for education. I was fortunate to have parents who valued education and encouraged me to study well so that I could attend a more prestigious grade school in Redondo Beach than the schools near my home in Carson that cater towards more lower income families. My parents, who are not college educated, wanted me to become a learner in a community where better opportunities than those which they were given. They wanted me to attend a school that could provide me with ample opportunities at success through educational and extracurricular activities, as well as incredibly dedicated teachers and students who celebrate each other's unique cultures and backgrounds. After high school, I was able to earn a scholarship that gave me the opportunity to attend college. I completed my undergraduate studies at California State University, Dominguez Hills, where I earned my bachelor's degree in English. This community was very different from that of my grade school community in Redondo Beach. At CSUDH, I met many students who came from high-needs grade schools and who had to fight every day for their right to a quality education. I realized how rare it is that students are given the same opportunities that I had growing up. After working hard in my undergraduate studies, currently I am attending California State University, Long Beach to earn my English single-subject teaching credential. After recognizing the inequitable opportunities that students, even within neighboring communities, are fighting to overcome, I became invested in advocating and empowering underrepresented students, with the hope that as a leader and a future educator, I could help foster the growth of positive learning environments that celebrates diversity similar to those that I was fortunate to belong to. Not only did my own community spark my advocacy, my exploration of communities different from my own also informed my perceptions of students and their potential for learning and success. I took my initiative to help others abroad to my own native country after recognizing the struggles. In 2016, I lived and taught besides locals of a small, poor community in the Philippines. From this, I now have a deeper understanding of my own culture, its origins, its simplicity of life, its impoverishment, and most of all, its need for a quality education. This experience has strengthened my dedication to providing quality education to diverse groups and communities who rarely have this opportunity. Therefore, no matter how little students are given, it is about focusing on what they do have and finding the tools necessary for their growth. To be the best role model and innovative educator for my students, I need to constantly develop my own thinking, skills, and experiences that I can share with my students. I want to immerse myself in new cultures, communities, and understand the lives of others in different countries from my own. It is important to step out of one's comfort zone and immerse oneself into another world. As a meaningful educator, I must be aware of my students' cultural backgrounds, upbringing, social economic status, and their values in order to understand how best to engage and empower my students from varying cultural, ethnic, and racial backgrounds. Inspiring my students to seek personal growth and become lifelong learners is why meaningful learning is important to me. Although teaching English, my subject matter, is important, my focus is more on teaching my students with my students' interests in mind. The philosophical way of thinking is called progressivism. Parker and Stanford state that teachers with this mindset often act as guides for their students and engage students through providing activities related to their cultural interests, and then they move students to higher levels of thinking. Teaching is less about learning from textbooks or taking exams, but focuses more on making real-world connections and looking at material that students can identify with, that they can see themselves reflected within the characters' novels. John Dewey, a progressive thinker, discussed in his book, The Child in the Curriculum, that the teacher must understand the child's world before learning how to put the child's needs and interests into understanding the larger context of the knowledge of the collective human race. It's with this mindset that I do my own preparation for teaching my students. My active involvement with volunteering in high needs communities, as a volunteer abroad in different countries, and as a local volunteer in my community through my organization Omega Phi Chi Multicultural Sorority Incorporated, and partnering with other nonprofit organizations such as the Dream Big Project that advocates for at-risk students in my local communities allows me to see firsthand the needs of my students. It's important to learn about the struggles that these students face in the classroom and at home in order for me to learn how to best communicate with my students and understand them with openness and sensitivity. More so, it is important to understand this youth cultures with what my students enjoy doing outside of class, what and how they value their own life, their internal struggles, and how they work to build and maintain relationships with their peers, families, and communities. As a teacher, it is vital that I continue to educate myself, listen to music that my students enjoy, read young adult literature that my students are reading, and that addresses many of the struggles that my students are battling every day. Understand how social media is impacting my students' life, and stay current with news and activities that are happening in the communities that I teach. Educators should foster a creative environment where continuous learning occurs and addresses students' unique interests and needs so that all students are prepared to be advocates and leaders in their school, college, career, and communities. It is imperative that we provide an understanding, safe, and equitable classroom and school community characterized by culturally responsive teaching and reflective learning. To do so, it is critical that we are attentive to students' personal, cultural, and social values and needs with a commitment to guiding all students' inquiries and exploration to help them search for individual passion for learning. I believe that teaching should be about a continuous learning of students' interests and needs and should encourage personal growth among learners. Teaching should include academic, social, and emotional learning executed with equity, understanding, and impact. I believe that all students can learn. The educators must value the individual and work to provide support in and outside the classroom for our students. I believe that we must teach with a culturally responsive mindset and provide reflective learning opportunities for our students. More so, the curriculum should emerge from students' needs and interests and provide students with problem-solving skills for their present and their future. Teachers must create a learning environment that is learning-centered and feels like a shared, safe space. After all, my goals for education are to foster students to become advocates and leaders in their school, college, career, and community. Activism, innovation, and meaningful learning for all students. At my core, I believe that all students can find a passion for learning and that all teachers can lead students to finding their passion. Thank you.